I call the honourable member Sue Moroni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Look, that's from the party of privilege. And wasn't that enlightening? Because from the party of privilege, apparently people choose to be made redundant under the National Party's view. Apparently there is a freedom of choice about your job being taken away from you. Well, I'd like them to share exactly how that works, because I think nothing shows more about how out of touch that government is for the day-to-day realities than the sorry speeches we've heard from the National Party on this bill tonight. Mr. Speaker, I'm really proud to bring this bill before the House, but I'm not proud of the circumstances in which this bill becomes so relevant today. Because since we started the first reading debate on this bill just a few weeks ago, there have been hundreds more redundancies announced in this country, and that's just in the weeks since we started the first reading debate. And that is something that the government needs to take responsibility for. Because since this debate started, there have been 500 jobs go at New Zealand Post right throughout the country. In Hamilton, where I come from, 129 jobs have gone from that city alone. Now, when I did my speech at the beginning of this process, I warned about the tsunami of redundancies. I warned about the second wave that was coming, and that's the beginning of the second wave. Because when 129 pretty reasonably decent jobs, well-paying jobs like New Zealand Post jobs come out of a community like Hamilton, then those wages get sucked out of that economy as well, Mr. Speaker. And when those good wages get sucked out of the economy, guess what happens next? More redundancies start happening because the companies and the local businesses where those people once spent their wages, that money is not getting spent anymore. And so the next wave of redundancies are not the ones that you'll read about in the newspaper. They will be the one job there, the two jobs down the road, and the three jobs at the other company down the road as well. They are the ones that we will not hear about. But the National Party has focused on this somehow being a personal choice. Those 129 workers at New Zealand Post and the 500 of them throughout the country have apparently a personal choice about being made redundant. Well, here's the reality, Mr. Speaker. They don't. They don't have a personal choice in being made redundant. Fortunately, they are members of a union and they will get redundancy pay. But those ones and twos and threes, those other small companies that I talked about that are coming around the corner, the redundancies there are the ones where people haven't had the personal choice to actually negotiate redundancy. And what is it that makes the National Party feel so comfortable about the thousands of people being made redundant in this country every month, and the fact that 80% of them, yes, Mr. Speaker, 80% of them have no entitlement to any redundancy protection? Because that's the reality. That's the National Party's personal choice for us, the personal choice to actually have your job taken from underneath you, not you, Mr. Speaker, but thousands of New Zealand workers, and having no rights and no protection at all. And that's what the National Party has just told us they're completely relaxed about. Well, it's all right for them to be relaxed about it, but those workers and their families are not relaxed about it, because they're facing no income and the prospect of no jobs. Because when those 129 jobs go in Hamilton, can I tell you, Mr. Speaker, those people will be lining up with hundreds of others for minimum wage jobs at the local supermarket, and that's the destiny that they have in place for them. Mr. Speaker, it's clear with this debate which party is focused on the real issues that affect New Zealand today, because here we are debating a very real issue promoted by the Labour Party, voted against by the National Party. But can I, in closing, Mr. Speaker, thank the Green Party, New Zealand First, the Māori Party, Mana and Brendan Horan for having the decency to stand up for everyday New Zealanders in support of this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well done.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. Party voters call for? Clerk will please conduct a party vote. Thank you.
New Zealand National.
59 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes in favour.
Green Party.
12 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote in favour.
ACT New Zealand.
1 vote opposed.
Honourable Peter Dunn.
1 vote opposed.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote in favour.
Any other votes?
Thank you. Honourable members, the ayes are 57, the noes are 61. The motion is not agreed to. The question now is that the Employment Relations Statutory Minimum Redundancy Entitlements Amendment Bill... No. The question is that the Employment Relations Statutory Minimum Redundancy Entitlements Amendments Bill be considered by the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee. Well, I call on members' order of the day number 4.
Electricity Renewable Preference Amendment